Well, I haven't any idea. I certainly plan to try. The additional responsibilities are not day-to-day administrative duties of the kind that the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare require. They are communicating duties, coordinating duties, as I mentioned to the committee, taking the areas, activities all in a similar area such as human resources and reporting to the President the problems involved that the agencies have in these fields, reporting back to them presidential directions and decisions. It's a communicating role, not an administering role, and I think that should change the current impression that a lot of people seem to have that one will be expected to administer all the activities in this field.
Well, these
are
other
use executive privilege quite a lot?
No, I don't think any more than is required by the existing laws. As a matter of fact, I think there'll be much greater communication with the Congress because there will be people now, myself, Secretary Butts, Secretary Lynn, who will be coming before congressional committees regularly, who will be doing these liaison duties, whereas before they were performed by White House assistants who didn't come before them.
Hope from today. That's what's being done.
Mr. Weinberger, some of your predecessors at HEW have found the job about all they could handle, and some of them have found it more than they could handle. Now you've been made a super cabinet officer with additional responsibilities. Do you think you can handle
W Secretary and your responsibilities to the President?
No, I don't think so. I think they're identical.
Your other cabinet members whose activities you will be coordinating, passing their messages to the President, passing the President's instructions to them, how are you going to get along with them? Aren't they going to feel like second-rate cabinet members
No,
or
I don't think
third-rate
so,
cabinet members?
because they have a great many other important duties that they'll perform on their own that won't be in the fields where coordination is required through anyone else. One of the reasons the President proposed the reorganization plan was because there is such a fragmentation of activities in the human resources field and in the natural resources area and in community development. And what he's trying to do is get a better coordination and a better unified direction of executive policy than can be obtained with the number of agencies scattered all through the government that deal with bits and pieces.
And these other cabinet members will be willing to have you oversee their activities as someone between them and the President, whereas before they could go right to the President?
It isn't overseeing activities, and one of the current myths is that each agency head has an opportunity to talk to the President about everything. The simple fact of the matter is there aren't enough hours in the year for that with the number of agencies that we have. But the other cabinet members will have very full and complete sets of duties and full sets of responsibilities and full access to the President.
Well, you're not going to...
In the some of the stories about you taking over this job, they referred to you as Cap the Knife, and yet you didn't outline any great slashing cuts. Have you been misnamed, maybe?
Well, that's entirely a name of the Washington Press Corps. None of my friends in California knew who the people were talking about when I came to Washington, and that title was given to me. But the newspapers here and others seem to enjoy it, and I'm the last one to want to interfere with freedom of the press.
Well, your reputation in Washington, though, is as a tight-fisted and watching the budget very carefully and cutting expenses. Now, this new job, will it mean that you are in charge of cutting spending for human resources?
No, it will mean that I'm supposed to administer the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare and coordinate the activities of agencies in the human resources field.
In talking to Senator Hansen, you were speaking about California's workfare program. Is this something that you'd like to see expanded in the federal?
Well, the federal government itself, through amendments and rules adopted last year, is substantially requiring this kind of thing. I was speaking specifically of the California experience in welfare, which has been one that has reduced the welfare rolls by some 225,000 people, I believe, the last figures I saw, and at the same time has enabled the state to make substantially increased payments to those in very specific need in the so-called adult categories. And this, I think, is a very, the results thus far have been very hopeful and offer a lot of suggestions for other states. This is a state program, and I would think the California experience would be one that other states might want to pick up.
In the sense that there would be federal?
To a considerable extent, only in a very general way. We've been fairly busy with the budget, and that, plus getting ready for the new department, is about I can. But I have just a general familiarity with it.
Are you aware of it enough to where you can make some comments on what the president has announced?
No, I think the comments that were made earlier in the day were probably all that would be required at this point.